We've heard that countries do borrow, and Nigeria itself is a country that has literally been tied in that web of borrowing from either foreign countries or the central or the World Bank, and so on and so forth. And this new government also has a borrowing plan in quote, and the foreign debt of Nigeria to top up to $51 billion as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu seeks fresh $7.8 billion and also 100 million euros loan. Yeah, you heard that right, loan. Okay, so Nigerian's foreign debt is expected to rise further to about 51 billion US dollars following President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's request to the Senate seeking approval to borrow additional 7.8 billion and 100 million euros as part of his 2022 to 2024 borrowing plan. So some financial analysts have debunked the official reasons given for the borrowing, claiming that it was rather meant as a bridging loan to cushion the country's current balance of payment crisis. Now, Nigerians' debts on foreign tenants are as June 2023 was put at 43.2 billion US dollars, while domestic debt is put at 54.1 trillion, bringing public debts to 113.4 trillion naira. That's huge. Now, with the presidential request for new borrowing, coupled with the depreciation of the naira, the total public debt is forecast to reach over 130 trillion naira. Now, the president, in a later address to the Senate yesterday, explained that the request was anchored on the approval given by President Muhammad Buhari's led administration after a Federal Executive Council meeting early in May 2023. Now, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio read President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's request during the plenary. Now, Tinubu's later reads, the Senate may wish to note that the past administrations approved the 2022 to 2024 budgets, rather the borrowing plan that he has actually been bringing forward at this particular point in time, and we're hoping it's news we don't want to hear. Now, it also said that the Federal Executive Council actually approved this borrowing plan on the 15th day of May 2023. Now, the project cuts across all sectors with specific emphasis on infrastructure like agriculture, health, education, water supply and security, and employment, as well as financial management reforms, among the others. Now, the facilities of the project and programs under the borrowing plan is about 7 trillion 864 million 5 billion rather 508 million 559 US dollars, and then in euros about 100 million euros respectively. Now, the Senate is invited to note that following the removal of fuel subsidy and its impact on economy in the country, a lot has actually gone down as the African Development Bank and the World Bank have indicated interest to assist the country in mitigating the economic shocks and recent reforms with a sum of 1 billion US dollars and 2 billion US dollars respectively. Now, in addition to the Federal Executive Council approved 2022 to 2024 external borrowing plan. Now, consequently, the required approval is in the sum of 7 trillion 864 billion 508 million $559, and in the terms of euros, about 1,000 million euros. Now, I would like to underscore the fact that the project and programs borrowing plan were selected based on positive technical economic evaluations, as well as the expected contributions to the societal economic development of the country, including employment generation, skill acquisitions, supporting the emergence of more entrepreneurs, poverty reduction, and food security to improve the livelihood of an average Nigerian. Now, the project will be implemented in all 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory in view of the present economic realities facing the country. It has become imperative that the resolve of using external borrowing to bridge the financing gap would be applied to key infrastructure projects including power, railway, health, amongst others. Now, given the nature of the facilities and the need to consolidate the countries to normalcy, it has become exigent to request the Senate's consideration and approval of the 2022 to 2024 external borrowing plan to enable the government deliver its responsibilities to Nigerians through expenditure, disbursement, and efficient project implementation. Okay, let's go back to what the president actually wants to use this money for. He said he has a lot of infrastructures according to the meeting in May 2023, and these infrastructures were said to be cut across water supply, agriculture, health, education, security, as well as employment for Nigerians, and as well as financial management reforms, amongst others. And this amount of money being aimed to borrow would literally turn us into a debt of over 130 trillion naira. This is via forecast. A whole thing about borrowing, Nigerians are actually not the kind of people who would actually go down that line with the government borrowing, because if you keep on borrowing, who gets to pay this debt? And we believe that there are other debts yet unpaid to have accumulated to the amount we have today, trying to sort out itself. Now, furthermore, now let's get to hear what Nigerians have to say about this borrowing plan of the president. The president is welcome to borrow, but he should borrow what he can pay before his tenure expires. Exactly. If each government comes and borrows what they can pay back, it becomes something better for Nigerians as a country. But when you borrow and then pass it to the next administration, the administration that comes in next has no idea whatsoever of paying back, and you now get to expect someone who did not borrow to pay. It's not done anywhere. So if we can literally start borrowing what we can pay back, it's literally going to be beneficial to Nigerians. Not just Nigerians now, but Nigerians to come. It helps to save further crisis for the generation that's literally going to rule. 130 trillion naira. That's quite a whole lot of amount of money for all this. Okay, for all those things listed. What about internal generated revenues? Have they ever made plans for that? Why do they keep borrowing? I can't really say why the government keeps borrowing, but I think he said it was due to the this particular borrowing plan. It's from the past administrations, which they had made it to 2022 to 2024 borrowing plan. Why would a country want to bank on their borrowing plan? I'll leave that for the white dogs to answer. Anyway, moving further, Nigeria has always been a borrowing country, borrowing and never paying back. One day we could be raided from all those countries for borrowing, and then we use as collateral to pay for the sins of our governments. I wanted to say something like that. I think I said something like that one day we could wake up and find ourselves as collateral to a government. Maybe we're being paid off. Okay, we're used as a payoff. Okay, take this sector, take this particular state to use them as a collateral, and then you're going to have to be bringing back slave trade and stuffs. But that's what's happening at this point, because the country keeps on borrowing. You're talking about 7.8 or 5 billion euros, and you're talking about dollars, and you're talking about 1,000 million euros, and you keep on borrowing, and who gets to pay at the end of the day? That's the question I want you to answer in the comment section. Do well to drop your message, do well to drop your comment, like, subscribe, and share.